Smoothing and polishing the cylinder head is a crucial step in the porting process, one that can dramatically influence both the performance and reliability of your engine. This stage is not just about making things look pretty, it's about refining the airflow pathways to maximize efficiency, power, and longevity. Let's break down each part of this step, from rough smoothing to final polishing, and finally, ensuring everything is scrupulously clean before reassembly. Begin with rough smoothing. At this point, you've likely already shaped the ports using carbide burrs, removing casting imperfections, and enlarging or reshaping areas as needed. However, carbide burrs often leave behind tool marks and uneven surfaces. This is where 80 to 120 grit sandpaper rolls or flap wheels come into play, mounted on your die grinder. The goal is to erase those tool marks and blend the port surfaces into a uniform texture. Move methodically, focusing on every curve and contour of the port. You want to avoid deep scratches or gouges that could disrupt airflow or become places where carbon can accumulate. The key is patience. Don't rush, and let the tool do the work as you methodically pass over the surface, gradually evening out all imperfections. As you work, continually check your progress by running your finger along the port walls. You're aiming for a consistent, smooth feel, but not a glass-like finish. It's important to maintain the port shape and avoid removing excess material, especially around critical areas like valve seats. The smoother surface reduces turbulence and helps air and fuel move more efficiently through the port. But it's not just about airflow. The right texture also helps with fuel atomization in the intake, which brings us to the next phase. Now comes the final polishing. For this, switch to finer sandpaper in the 240 to 400 grit range. This stage is about refining the surface to a semi-smooth finish. Here, it's vital to understand the difference between intake and exhaust ports. On intake ports, a mirror-like shine can actually be detrimental. If the surface is too smooth, it can cause fuel droplets to stick together and flow unevenly, rather than mixing thoroughly with the air. This can reduce combustion efficiency and even lead to engine knock. Instead, aim for a finish that's smooth to the touch, but still slightly textured. Think of the look and feel of a fine sandblast. This subtle texture promotes better fuel atomization, ensuring a more complete, efficient burn inside the cylinder. Exhaust ports, on the other hand, benefit from a much smoother finish. Here, the goal is to minimize the buildup of carbon deposits, which can interfere with exhaust flow and reduce performance over time. Polishing the exhaust ports to a high sheen helps prevent these deposits from sticking, keeping the ports cleaner for longer, and allowing exhaust gases to exit the cylinder more rapidly and efficiently. Once you're satisfied with the smoothing and polishing, the final, and perhaps most critical step is cleaning the head thoroughly. Use compressed air and brake cleaner to remove all traces of abrasive dust, metal shavings, and debris from the ports and all internal passages. Any leftover material can cause severe engine damage if it gets into the combustion chamber. Inspect every port and passage closely, running your finger along the surfaces and checking for any remaining rough spots or hidden debris. Only when you're confident that everything is clean and free of imperfections should you proceed to the next steps in reassembly. Remember, the attention to detail you apply during smoothing and polishing will directly influence your engine's performance and reliability. Take your time, follow each step carefully, and the results will speak for themselves when the engine roars back to life.